Hello, hello, friends, and welcome to the show. Johnny here. What a morning it's been. It's been a morning, and it's only 6:55 in the morning here in Nashville, Tennessee. But I've already had a very interesting morning. Didn't get to. I don't know. I didn't sleep great last night either. Had some weird. When you just have weird dreams, like you had a bunch of weird dreams, bunch of weird things happen in your dreams, but then you wake up and you don't remember anything. You kind of remember that was insane. What happened? But so that was kind of like the evening that I had. But we are here today, and I'm happy to be here with you. And we're going to be talking about this is sort of like a part two. We talked a little bit about how to avoid the sleaze balls in Hollywood. That was a few days ago. I did a show like that. That was a part one. This is sort of a part two. I didn't call it a part two because I think I'm going to go back later on and go deeper into it on a part two. But this is something that I thought was interesting, and to give you 10 things that you can do, because I went only very briefly, I went over what you can do to protect yourself as a filmmaker, as an artist, as an actor, as a performer, to not get ripped off by these sleaze balls. And they're out there. I told my story on that last episode. If you want to go check it out, I told my story about what happened to me when I was in New York by a lawyer. And I got out of it. I got out of the contract because I fought back. But you don't have to fight back. You just have to be more aware than I was at that point in my career. And I was very, very fortunate enough that I was able to be. I wasn't young, so I was, I was still old enough. I was in my 30s. So I had some awareness. I wasn't going to let somebody rip me off. But when you're young and you're coming into a city like New York City, and you're in your, early 20s, and you're just trying to get by, and here you have somebody who's gassing you up and telling you how amazing you are and all that. These things are part of what you have to look out for, because they are out there, man. I am telling you, they are out there, and they know exactly what they're doing, and they know what they're looking for. They know who they're trying to get. They know the type. They know you're out of town. They know you're new. They know you're ambitious, you're good, you're talented, you're beautiful. If you're a young lady, or you are a guy, you're a good-looking dude. They are out there trying to get it. So let's go down the list here. This is going to be I think a quicker episode. Just maybe not. I don't know. I always say that, and then I end up going long. How many pages do I have here? Okay, so I got one blank page. That's nice. All right, so we're gonna go over here. So these are 10 things. These are a little bit unique. These things, they're not just like 10 things to look out. These are a little bit unique. I want you to pay attention to these. Write them down, and if you want to go back and on this episode, if you can't write them down now, go back later on and start writing these down, putting them into a book, holding on to these, and then looking at them, every once in a while, and getting them part of your awareness level. Get it part in there. Get it into who you are when you're a performer, when you're an actor, when you're dealing with people, especially managers and agents and people that are trying to help you. Make sure you have these things. Okay. So, number one, always ask for a second opinion from a working actor. So before jumping into any opportunity, run it by a peer who's currently working in the industry. They'll often spot red flags you might miss, especially if they've had more experience with agents, casting calls, or production deals. So yeah, when you're now, if you're new, obviously you don't know anybody yet. If you're really just starting out, um, you can always message me, John Henry Soto at gmail.com, or John at jhstalent management.com. You can find me anywhere online and just ask me a question. I'll be more than happy to answer and to help and to look for what it is that you're involved in. I get bombarded with a lot of stuff, so just give me a little bit of a few days sometimes to catch up, but I will answer. Number two, create a digital trail. This is a very interesting thing. I had email communications with this lawyer that signed me to this bogus deal. Okay, so keep email communication instead of phone only conversations. and avoid doing deals via DMs. A clear digital record helps hold people accountable and can serve as evidence if something goes wrong. Emails are evidence, DMs are not. Now, DMs can be used. You can use DMs, but an email is more, can be used in court. That's why you see a lot of politicians deleting emails and destroying servers because they can get in trouble for those. Not naming any names here, but it happens. Number three, learn to read contracts like a pro. Take a short course on contract literacy for actors. They have them out there. There's a lot of contract literacy for actors out there. You have to just ask ChatGPT or Google it or whatever. Now they got Gemini on Google. So you have a lot of help out there that can help you find these courses. Again, also, if you find a really good actor who's already performing, who's working, you can also ask them as well about where there's a good contract literacy course. Understand terms like exclusivity, and non-compete empowers you to negotiate or walk away from a shady deal. So learn how to use those, what those things mean. Especially exclusivity means you can't work for anyone else. So if you sign this contract, if they decide that they don't have anything for you for a year, then you can't go anywhere else. So they can take you to court or sue you or whatever. It's a bad deal. It happens. People just want to. They're just mean people that want to destroy lives, and no one understands that. But you have to understand that they do exist. They're out there. They're suppressive individuals that spend their lives trying to destroy other people. Now that sounds like what? Come on, seriously? Yeah, they're out there. They're out there. If you don't think they are, then I mean, wow. Yeah, you're not in this business, obviously, either. All right, number 4. Keep your headshot and reels safe from exploitation. Watermark your materials when sending them to unknown casting calls or reps. This won't stop a scammer, but it will discourage casual misuse and make it easier to prove ownership. So you can do that with you can watermark all your stuff. So if they have it, it says do not use without permission, whatever the watermark you want to put on there. But there are things that you can do that with Adobe and different softwares. I don't know if Canva has it, but I would assume that they have that. I bet I'm almost sure that they do have it. So check it out on something like that's easier to use, like Canva. This is an important one, and this one, as I've actually seen, I've met people that have fallen for this one. Never pay to audition. Come on, seriously, do not pay somebody for an audition. Auditions are free. A manager is free. An agent is free. You don't sign to a man. You don't pay a manager anything. You don't pay an agent anything. Though they only make money if you make money. The only person that you should pay for your headshot is the person taking the headshots. If you get yourself a reputable, respectable, professional headshot photographer, you pay them. They are doing a service. They are doing a job. They deserve to be paid. But if it's an organization saying you pay us and we will pay for your hair, for your headshots, and then we will put you on a list. All you gotta do is pay us $500. We'll get you professional headshots. That's not how you do that. You go out and independently find a guy. You can tell them, well, I don't need to pay for headshots. You could tell this to people, and this is a little thing. If they say that, you can say, hey, you know what? I have a guy who's going to do my headshots already, or I have a girl that's going to do my headshots. She's a professional, so I don't need to pay the $500. They say, well, you have to pay it in order to be part of this. Okay, then no, you're not going to be part of that. So see what I'm saying? They incorporated everything together because they think you're getting a really great package deal. Well, you're paying for the headshots, you're paying to be listed, you're paying to be booked into different jobs. I mean, you're paying a lot of money, and we're taking a loss basically. That's what they will tell you. So do not fall for that one. Build a personal. This one is a little bit controversial, and I get it, but listen to me and pay attention to why I'm saying this, and I'll give you a little bit more backstory on this. But Build a personal blacklist folder. Hold on. I know nobody wants to be blacklisted, but if you run into somebody who's trying to scam you and you get away from not being scammed, you want to protect yourself and others. Create a list. Okay, this guy Joe Schmo here tried to rip me off, and write it down on a little book. Write it down in your email. Write it down in put a folder with emails from this person into a folder. It's very easy to do that. Or you can get a little book. I always have my little books. I get my little cards that I always write on. Write it down, man. I'm telling you, and have a list, because later on you're gonna run into somebody that says, "Hey, I'm thinking of signing up with this Joe Schmo guy. What do you think of him?" It's like, that sounds familiar. Hold on 1 second. Oh no, don't look right here. I remember I met with this person. This is what they told me. This is what they promised me, and they're a ripoff. Do not sign with them. So that's number 6. And yeah, it may, nobody wants to build it, but you could be wrong too, right? I mean, you could just think they're trying to rip you off, and maybe they're not, but you still have to, when you find out that this is only, you don't put the people in that you don't like. If they didn't like you, if they didn't sign you, they didn't bring you on board because maybe you're not as good as you think you are, or maybe they don't think you're as good as you think you are, or maybe you are very, very good and very, very talented, and they just missed it. They had an off day. That doesn't mean they go back. They're blacklisted. That means that didn't work out. You have to be really, sure that you've escaped being ripped off. Okay, that's very important to understand that. Number 7 is use. I don't. This is something that, yeah, you can do. It's a little bit strange, but use an alias for early inquiries. So if you're sending an email to someone, maybe you don't want them to know your full name yet, or maybe, when responding to questionable casting or unfamiliar representation, use a slightly altered name and separate email. If that name ends up being misused or sold, you'll know exactly where the breach occurred. So this is something that you can do, especially in New York and LA. There's a lot going on over there. Smaller markets, not so much. Although LA now is becoming the smaller market, and the bigger market now is in Atlanta, and New Jersey is getting big, and a few other places, Texas. Yeah, there's other places now that are becoming bigger than Hollywood, believe it or not. So Hollywood is trying to make a comeback right now. I know that, and I wish them well. But yeah, that's something that you can do. Number 8, ask about union affiliation. Do your research with this. If a job claims to be union or SAG-AFTRA affiliated, verify it through the official union website by contacting them directly. Scammers often drop buzzwords to appear legit. It's just a simple thing. They can say, yeah, our project is SAG. I mean, you can, SAG, we're totally 100% union. We got all our stuff in order. Okay, great. Go out, research that, figure that out. See, call up the unions. The unions, that's what they do. They want to help you. Trust me. They want you to be part of the union. And in order to be part of the union, you have to make sure they can provide a service. And if they provide a good service, which is finding out if a company is legit or not, that's part of the service that they provide. So you want to make sure that you use them, and then later on, when you can, sign up for the union because they helped. Okay, number 9. We're going down these pretty quickly. All right, number 9. Don't let praise blind you. This happens a lot with with pretty girls. The guy's there, sleazeball guy. He's like, hey, um, you're a pretty girl. You got talent. You're here in this big city. You're gonna need somebody to protect you. I've been doing this now for 40 years. So I think this is a good deal for you. I think it's in your best interest. Don't fall for that. And sometimes they may not be that sleazy looking, right? They'll just be like, hey man, I just want to help you. I think you need help. I think you're somebody here who's in New York. You're by yourself. You don't know what's happening. I know the industry. I know the business. I lived in New York a long time. You need somebody like me. So I think you should really consider this. I think it's really going to be beneficial. And then you're like, it seems like, and then you say, you're really talented. I mean, wow. I mean, you're beautiful. You're talented. You're here in New York. There's not a lot. I mean, listen, there are a lot of pretty people here in New York or in Los Angeles. There's a lot of pretty people, but talented and pretty, that's very rare. You're very rare. You need to sign with me. You see what I'm saying? You could fall for that. People fall for that. Be wary of excessive flattery. If someone is overly impressed by your work without specifics is a key thing. They're likely trying to manipulate your ego. Ask them what they specifically liked about your reel, audition, or scene. Yeah. Be like, oh, really? Wow. What was it about my reel that you liked? Well, I liked the way you had your name on the screen. They probably didn't even pay attention. They're just out there. They see a pretty face. Boom. There's my target. I want to try to tie them down. And then whatever work they get, I make some money off. And maybe I'll even charge them later on. They'll charge you money later on. Hey, listen, it's going to take about another $1,000. We need to submit you to these places. These places are big places. Okay, they don't just take anybody. You gotta give them some money. You gotta and it's unfortunate the industry, but you have to. This is what they'll say to you, and they'll try to get the money from you. So be very, very wary of that. Okay, number 10 and the final one here is join a community or networks or actors network. On Facebook, there's some reputable ones. There's some reputable ones on what's that? Meetup. You can have meetup groups that you can join where actors will help you and help each other kind of get through the mucky muck of the industry. Whether it's an online forum, a Facebook group, or a local meetup, actors sharing real stories help each other avoid pitfalls. These spaces are often the first to flag new scams making the rounds. So this is what happens too. They realize that, okay, everybody knows about this new scam, so we got to go somewhere else now, right? So you got to figure out a new thing. So you have to, the new thing is with AI, right? They goes, well, what we're going to do is we're going to take your picture, we're going to put you in this machine, we're going to scan your whole body, you're going to sign this here, right here, and you're going to go off. Now they have a digital imprint of your of you, basically, and now you signed off that they can use that. So now you as an actor, you physically as a person, the physical part of you cannot be used. Now you spiritually, right? You're the actor, you're the performer, are still valuable, obviously. But now they have your digital DNA in a computer somewhere, and they've been doing that. That's a newer scam. It's very new, but they're out there doing it. They're trying to get digital imprints of you, and they're saying that you're going to get paid every time they use the digital imprint. Maybe, I don't know what that means, but I'm sure that it's not as much as you physically showing up for a project and being a human in a film. This is going to be a label. Films are going to be labeled AI, AI or H for human. And with a certain, there's going to be some kind of symbol or something on it, I believe. All right. Well, those are the 10 right there, folks. I hope those help. One of the things that I'm planning on doing, that I'm working on, it's a lot of work doing all these things, especially by yourself. Generally by myself coming up with these ideas, but I want to put together a group, meetup groups with newer performers that are looking for guidance. So I would go over these 10 steps or these 10 things to look for and ask questions, and then help people find reputable places to go to, get them signed up. So I want to do that. It's going to be free of charge. It's going to be just gathering people together in a room at the church, my church, any community center that's available. That would be a library. Sometimes you can rent library rooms for that, and put them together and help them kind of find their way, help them, and give them a good start for them to feel confident that they can go out and know that there are people out there that have their best interests at heart. And that to me is important. And I'm working on putting that together very, very soon. I want to do that for not only for actors but also for singers and performers that come into the city. So I'm in Nashville now, so it's going to be a Nashville driven thing. So I know there's a lot of music here, so it'll be a lot of music driven things. But we have a lot of actors here. There's a lot of projects going on in Nashville right now. It's becoming a hub. The entertainment. I've spoken to a lot of the people in the entertainment commission here. They are awesome people, 100% committed to helping the artists and to bringing the revenue into Nashville, and bringing productions and bringing the our eyes into Nashville and to building up the Tennessee in general. There's a lot of places in Tennessee to shoot in also, so it's a great state right now to be in. All right, friends, I want to thank you. I can go on and on, as you can tell, but I'm gonna get going here, get my kids ready for school, or my son ready for school. Today is his last day of school. It's a half a day. I have a big interview that I'm doing also as well, and I have a couple of meetings later on this afternoon. So a busy day. I want to thank you for your time. Appreciate you all. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We're all responsible for each other as well. I love you all, and I will see you all tomorrow morning. God bless. And as always, peace.